lot of trouble against the New York Mets. New York Mets are playoff teams, but they sure took care of business. Alvarez went back to back with who? Alex Bregman, that's who it was. And then you had Alvarez hit 2 home runs. This was a epic Astros game. We're going to talk deep about what Ryan Stanek did. Luis Garcia, he pitched pretty well, and the Astros offense is doing pretty good. And what the heck is Jake Myers doing down in AAA? We'll talk about that and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Astros. Find the show at Locked On Astros. Your team every day. Brett, where can they find you at?
They can find me at Htown Wheelhouse on Twitter and Instagram, and at Astros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and just go to YouTube, just search for Locked On Astros and find us. Give us a like while you're at it, and go ahead and listen to us on your way to work, on your way to camp, on your way on your summer vacation, whatever you do it. Just make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Just go and do it. So this was a epic series. I know it's only a 2-game series, but still, it was a good showing for the Astros, who a lot of people were worried about the offense going into this Mets series. But the Astros really took care of business against a very, very good Mets team overall. And I know Cookie Carrasco didn't have his best stuff today. I think he left a little bit early with the injury. But Alvarez, it looks like Bregman is starting to heat up a little bit. And then when we got the back-to-back boys starting to hit back-to-back home runs again, what else can you ask for? And yes, I'm still at camp, and I was so excited about this game. I'm like, Brett, I'm gonna jump on with you tonight.
No, yeah, definitely. Glad you are, and glad you're having a good time. The Astros only gave up 5 runs to the Mets. They scored 15, or they scored 13. They scored 8 the night before. They scored 5 today. It was a great offensive output. And, Alex Bregman has, I think, awakened from his slumber. And on the show the night before, I had talked about how the Astros were basically making a statement game on Wednesday. Okay. And the statement game was not Tuesday. The statement game was Wednesday. And the fact that they won a second game, and it was only their 4th win in 17 games after they scored 7+ runs, says a lot about this team, says a lot about the direction that this team's going in.
Yeah. And I know that they got an epic series in New York playing the Bronx Bombers. I know that Aaron Judge just hit his 27th home run today, and everybody's saying, oh, yeah, he's the great hitter of this all-time generation, blah, blah, blah. But Alvarez, what this kid is doing, especially after he sat out for a few games with whatever was going on with his hand, but he's come back and he hit a home run yesterday too, right? So he has 3 home runs in the last 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. Yordan Alvarez since June is 27, or in June is 27 for 59. I'm sorry, his slash line is 458, 535, 915, an OPS of 1450, 7 home runs, 23 RBIs, 8 walks, and only 6 strikeouts, and scoring 15 runs. My prediction is this guy's going to win Player of the Month easily, hands down. Another thing you like to see is in the first inning, the way they got scoring was Altuve had a leadoff walk. Brantley would hit a double, scoring Altuve. Bregman then followed with a 2-run shot on an 0-2 count. And then Yordan Alvarez would go back-to-back with Bregman on a 2-1 count. And then After that, Yordan Alvarez hit his second home run in the third inning. So his first two at bats were home runs, 412 feet, 408 feet, 114.6 off the bat, and 113.8 off the bat. It was a great showing for the Houston Astros offense.
Yeah, I know. And the best thing it was, they got 4 runs in the first without Carrasco recording an out, and that was awesome in the first inning. And it just seemed like the Astros offense has rejuvenated. Part of it has to do with Alvarez coming back to the lineup. Part of it has to do with Bregman kind of heating up a little bit. But this team has always been good. It's going to go through some rough patches. It's going to go through some mini slumps, but this offense is too good to struggle for too long. And I think that, and I said this before the last podcast, this team tends to rise against good, the good teams. So now they have to all rise against the all powerful Aaron Judge. And I
Exactly.
think that they're going to do that. And Nestor Cortez apparently got hit around in his last start against the Rays. Some kid for the Rays hit 3 home runs. I think his name's Paredes, but he hit 3 home runs. But I think the Yankees are going to be the best matchup, the best test that the Astros have faced in quite a while.
Yeah, exactly. And if you are into test or you want to see how deep your love is for your special someone, go to BlueNile.com. Blue Nile is the place to go for engagement rings and wedding rings, special anytime jewelry. I mean, now this used to be known as the place where high income adults would go, primarily males 25 and up. But right now they offer jewelry at any price point. Blue Nile has simple online tools that let you choose the diamond shape, size, clarity, as well setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her perfect engagement ring. Each ring is made one of a kind. Looking at fine jewelry but having trouble choosing? Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a gift for the momentous occasion. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Astros listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement rings. Locked On, that's the code Locked On, plus every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging, so it won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free for your forever peace. Go to BlueNile.com. Now, with that being said, talking about Blue Nile, Eric, I want to talk about Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia had a gem of a game. He looked like an ace through 6 innings before he gave up a walk to Nemo, an RBI double to Marte. Lindor singled. He left the game with a 5-2 lead. There was another run that was given up by Stanek, but it was credited to Garcia, so that third one was
Right.
credited to him. But Garcia induced 20 swings and misses. That's a career high. And seven of those were on his four seam and his cutter. 4 of those were on his changeup, and 2 were on his slider. Luis Garcia looked like an ace today. And we've got going into New York. We'll talk about that in the last series. We've got our aces. Garcia's the only one not pitching, but we've got Verlander. We've got Framber. We've got the guys that have been pitching well going against the Bronx Bombers. I'm excited to see that. Hector Neris came in after Stanek, and even though that run was given up to Garcia, Stanek actually maintains his scoreless streak technically.
Right.
And then Neris came in the 6th inning and he only gave up 1 hit. He had 1 strikeout. So altogether, the pitchers stymied the highest run scoring offense in the major leagues.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do if you're a playoff team and you want to make it playoffs year in year out. You've got to have good pitching, and that's what the Astros have done. And it's just been a matter of can they outscore the opposition, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And against the Mets, they just happen to have done that. And so the Mets, they have a good team. Fortunately for the Astros, they hit the home runs. They did enough to get the job done. So, yeah, Stanek, you can't say enough for what this guy did. I know you did a poll on Twitter the other day. I don't know what the results were, but which reliever would make the All-Star team? There's so many different relievers that could make this team. And I don't know if Neris is on that list anymore. I mean, I know he did good today, but he kind of went through his little bad stretch. But
Well, he came
this
back from his
bullpen is
suspension.
good. Yeah,
No, yeah, it is. And, Stanek was the leading vote getter on there over Presley, over Montero. And, I mentioned Montero. He came in for one inning, only gave one hit, had two strikeouts. Ryan
right.
Presley, one inning, two strikeouts. I mean, this lineup, Eric. I mean, Chas McCormick even contributed with a hit. Mauricio Dubon followed up his home run game with the 1-for-3 game today. He's batting 250. Yuli Gurriel went 0 for 4 today. Didn't look great at the plate. Kyle Tucker hit some bad luck. But when you have Bregman and Alvarez, now I do want to tell you this though. When they put Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez next to each other, they played 22 games in their career together, and
Right.
where they've been in the lineup back to back. And I'm gonna read some stats for you. Yordan Alvarez in that stretch, 390 average, 9 home runs, 24 RBI, and 20 runs. Kyle Tucker, 263. Not bad, not as strong, but 4 homers, 17 RBI, and 12 runs. You remember how we're all about left, right, left, right? When these two lefties get in the box together and they're back to back, it is a powerful combination.
Yeah, and I think that's what Dusty Baker needed to do to get this offense going, and it had to get out of his old frame of thinking. And we were talking in camp today about you have to change your way of thinking to do stuff, and that's what Dusty Baker had to do. Dusty Baker has been thinking for years. You have to have the left right thing to make sure they don't bring in the lefty reliever. And Dusty Baker had to kind of go against the old school of thinking and just say, okay, I'm going to go ahead in order to protect my best hitter in Alvarez. I'm going to go and put Kyle Tucker back there. And it's actually worked out. And then Gurriel's been hitting behind them. And then it's helping Bregman in a way too. So I think by hitting them like that, I think you're seeing the fruits of the change. And so hopefully this stays like this for a while, because that's one of the better moves that Baker's made all season.
Yeah, exactly. And Alex Bregman, this series or this homestand was 7 for 16. And it is safe to say is it safe to say that he has turned the corner? I think you can say that right now. I mean, he faced some great pitching, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 4 of his 7 hits were extra base hits. And this is not the Bregman that we've been seeing all season, the one that has been stymied by pitchers, who's been popping up, who hasn't been squaring up the ball. And so at the end of the day, it's my prediction that Bregman will continue this, and it's also my prediction that, like I said earlier, Yordan Alvarez is going to be pitcher of the month. Now, one thing I want you to know is that tomorrow night, or if you're listening on Thursday, there's one live NBA draft show. It's not enough for Locked On. The entire NBA channel is going live on NBA draft night. So if you have a favorite NBA team, make sure you subscribe now to their Locked On YouTube channel so that you can get notified when they go live on the NBA draft night. Now, the next thing we need to talk about, Eric, is I have the 4 pitching matchups, who's going against who in games 1 through 4. And I did for the Yankees pitchers who are the top 3 hitters for each one. We'll talk about that. I'll bring that up. And then as you kind of give your comments, I'll pull up the Astros pitchers and who's had the most success against them. So the Yankees pitchers the Astros are facing is in game 1 is Jameson Taillon. The 3 batters that have had the most success against him, Martin Maldonado, Kyle Tucker, and Michael Brantley. Luis Severino has had the most success against him, has been Yuli, Castro, and Altuve. Castro only has 7 hits on the season. I don't know how this guy stays on this team past the trade deadline. He has been absolutely terrible at the plate. He was terrible again today, and I just think it's time to move on from Castro. I think the guy is washed. Game 3, Garrett Cole, the highest percentage against him, Yordan, Altuve, and Maldonado. Again, Maldonado's 2 of the 3 so far. And against nasty Nestor Cortez, Alvarez, Bregman, and Tucker. So those are their pitchers, Taillon, Severino, Cole, and Cortez. Pretty darn good pitching matchups. Now, Framber Valdez goes up against Talion. Then you have Verlander versus Severino, Cole versus Javier, and Urquidy versus Cortez. All right. So, Eric, in that first game, Talion, where Maldonado has success, he's been hitting better. Is it key that Maldonado gets on base and gets some hits in Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, it'll be good, but it's not necessary. I mean, if the rest of the lineup does good, then you don't need it. But if Mal's hitting, that's when you're scored in 9 to 10 runs, because it's when the whole lineup is going. That's when you do good. But I think that if Bregman and the top 5 or 6 in the lineup are hitting, I don't think you need Maldonado. But if Maldonado does more, that's when you're going to start scoring more. So yes, it would be great if that happens. But is it necessary? No.
How many at bats do you think Aaron Judge has against Framber Valdez? Just guess. I can't. I can't hear you.
Sorry, there's a golf cart driving by. So
Okay.
I think that it was, I don't know, I would say 10 less.
No. 2.
2.
He has 2 at bats against Aaron Judge, or Aaron Judge has 2 at bats against him. Giancarlo Stanton has the most, not the most at bats, but has the most success at 600.
Okay.
Gleyber Torres at 400, and Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo in 7 at bats has 5 RBIs. He's batting 429 against Framber Valdez. So
Wow.
this will be interesting to see what Aaron Judge does. And I don't know if you saw the report. I talked about it the other day on the podcast. MLB reported that all of a sudden, starting today, which is Wednesday, which is if you're listening Thursday, yesterday, all the baseballs were to be prepared before the game the same way in every stadium. Kind of makes you pause and go, wait, were they not all being prepared the same? Was there something sinister going on? Do these 27 home runs seem legit to you? I'll be real honest. I don't think so. I think Manfred loves the Yankees, and I think he gives him a total advantage in the fact that, I'm sorry, I think the balls are juiced in New York, but now all of a sudden the balls are going to be the same. I doubt that very seriously.
Well, everybody loves the Yankees except for Astros fans, but who knows? Maybe Aaron Judge has really figured out. I mean, he's always been a good player, but maybe he's just figured out things all the way. So, if you hear a lot of screaming, there's a lot of people doing cookie raids right now, and so there'd be
Okay.
a lot of people being chased by golf carts. So that's always fun. So that's so. What about the next game? What's the matchup for that game?
So the next game is game 2, Severino versus Justin Verlander. And the Yankees that have the most success against Justin Verlander are the following hitters. Josh Donaldson at 333, DJ LeMahieu at 333, and IKF, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at 286. Aaron Judge is a 182 against him. 11
How many?
at
Okay.
bats, only 1 home run. You have 1 home run from Gallo, Marwin Gonzalez, Aaron Judge, Connor Falefa, DJ LeMahieu, and Giancarlo Stanton. But they all sport around a 125 to 150 average against him. So, dude, Justin Verlander needed to have a rough start before this Yankee series because I think he's going to bounce back and do fine. Like, I would rather him have a rough start before than go to New
Yeah.
York and then have the
So,
bad start when he's in the Bronx.
so you're saying Justin Verlander had a big head, so he needed to kind of he was too confident, so he needed to get slapped down a little bit before he faced the Bronx Bombers. I'm kidding a little
Exactly.
bit there, but
Well, no, well,
but
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Eric, real quick. Because I bet what he's going to do before the game is he's going to go grab some athletic greens. AG1 is the place to go. They have this great, like, my testimony is this. I take athletic greens because it's simple, because it's quick, it tastes good, and it helps get everything in balance. You're absorbing 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and antigens to help you start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, and all the things that you need to get you on the right track. You have all these health facts and health habits and health tips. Some of y'all probably spend a whole lot of money. Well, that's what the founder of AG1 wanted to do. He wanted to get these greens in this product so that you weren't spending $100 a day. So if you're willing to go spend $4 a day at Starbucks, or as I call it, $5, maybe you could put some money into this, and you're investing in your health today by doing this. I know for me, it gives me energy. It makes me feel better. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/MLB network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate nutritional insurance today.
Alrighty. So yeah, AG1 would be really nice being in this weather, and I mean not this hot. It's really hot out here. It's like like Friday, it's gonna be 103. I'm out in Palestine, and it's gonna be 103. Today was 99 or 93. Felt like 101, but it's a great weather out here, and we're having good all the time. But not as
I
good as the
was
Astros were on the field.
No, for real. And dude, did you hear about the crowd? 37,000 plus at a day game. Mr.
It's the Mets.
Mr. Roberts said that both games were electric though. But
Where
the
is
last
Mr. Roberts,
time,
by the way? He's supposed to be up here, by the way.
no, he wasn't going this year. He said he wasn't going this year. So
Oh, okay.
he had plans to go to the Mets game. See, Eric, he has his priorities correct. He is supporting his Houston Astros.
Jay. I was looking for you, Jay.
Well, you can look for him if you go back and watch a replay of the game. He's sitting, actually, he was bragging a little bit. He upgraded his seats. He was sitting like behind the third base dugout. He wasn't even in his club seats. So it's all good, but I digress. So right here, Mr. Corona says this: how could the Astros settle the tone early and often? Well, I'll tell you how they can settle the tone. They can settle the tone by scoring runs. The way that you do this is you go in and you put up a 4-spot or a 5-spot in the first 2 innings. Altuve hits a home run. Alvarez hits a home run. Verlander goes in and strikes out 4 of his first 6 batters, type of stymie of the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge hits 3 pop flies into the infield and not 3 home runs. You know, you neutralize their power hitters. You capitalize on mistakes by the pitchers. When they put it over the plate, crush it to the left field wall. You know, left-handers crush it to that short porch in right field, and just make a game of it. Make it your game. The Astros never let the Mets tried. There were 2 different innings in each. There's 1 inning in each game, Eric, where they would load the bases. They started a little rally, but the Astros squashed it. Double plays, defensive plays. They did the job. I was really proud of the way that they bounced back, because after that first game, I was like, okay, this is a tone setter. They scored 8 runs, 7+ runs. Let's see how they do. And they did a great job.
How's Dubon looked at shortstop? I haven't got a chance to see him play.
Dubon's been phenomenal. Dubon has been phenomenal. I mean, he hit that home run the other night. He's been getting hits. He's been making defensive plays. He looks settled in. Okay. So, you know, when some guys are utility guys, you can tell the positions they're not comfortable in. He looks comfortable out there. And Blummer even made mention of that. And I was thinking, you know what? That is a great insight. He does look like a natural shortstop out there. Bregman was making barehanded grabs, running in from third, doing his Bregman thing. And Bregman looked like when him and Yordan when they went to the dugout after Yordan's home run, they both went back to back, like the bobblehead they made. Awesome. They did it again. So I was like, oh, here we go. 2023 bobblehead back to back. Once again, let's do it.
Back to 2.0. Again. Yeah.
That's right. It should say back to back together. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So you just shut the fans up early. And Mr. Rashad says, Eric, you need to hydrate. So just make sure you're drinking plenty of water. All right.
Yeah, I have been.
Good. All right. So get this. Mr. Rashad says against the New York Yankees, it's going to be very demanding. The team's got to play smart, aggressive, and clean without errors. Good point. Seems like much, but the Bombers are playing that good. No, they are. They are. And Yuli Gurriel, let me tell you something. Yuli Gurriel has had an issue with defense, very uncharacteristic of him. You wonder what's going on with him mentally. He made some errors. He muffed some balls. They weren't super easy to grab, but they were balls that he would normally pick up because he's such a great Gold Glove first baseman. Yuli, I think, needs to start producing. But if Bregman's producing, and Tucker, and Alvarez, and Altuve, and you got your guys in center field when they're up, they're hitting home runs. Eric, let me ask you this. Did you hear about Siri's home run? Did you hear about Jose Siri and the controversy he kind of
I
caused?
saw what he tweeted. I saw that he deleted it, and he said, "Y'all need to. I do what I want, and y'all can shut the. I can't say it at the
Oh,
camp I'm
did
at, but
so I didn't see that. So I kept hearing about it, but no one showed me a screenshot of it. So he
yeah, it was
basically
something
told
like
us,
no. He just said I forgot what it was. I briefly saw it, but basically it was just like just let us have fun and shut the you know what up.
well,
And
my thing was, and if you go back and watch the episode I did, I didn't, okay, I took the stance that you have to read the room. The Mets are the most hit team in baseball. They've had tiffs with other teams. So they're a blue collar team. They don't care. So you're hitting 190. You've only hit 3 home runs. Like, if you're going to gawk at the home run, gawk at it. That's fine, but take off and just get home, right?
yeah,
I'm like, if you're 190, only hitting 3 home runs, don't do that. But here's where I don't necessarily find 100% error in it, okay? And Joseph says he did nothing wrong. And here's why I'm
yeah,
not upset at him. That's his personality. When I interviewed Jake
that's who he
Myers
is. Yeah,
last year, when I interviewed Solomon, when I interviewed Kanine, all these guys, Jose Siri was always around. He was always playing, always. He's like a big kid. And when Siri did it, I didn't think it was as egregious as most people made it out to be. I just made the point that he probably needs to be in the moment more and think about the repercussions of his actions, because the way he got looked at by Pete Alonso, the way the pitcher looked at him, the way that Escobar looked at him. Now, afterwards, Maldonado basically cleared things up between Escobar and him. And so he did that. And he, even after the game, kind of apologized. I don't know if that was a forced apology or not, Eric. But at the end of the day, he didn't really do anything wrong. It was just his personality. But at the same time, you still have to know the audience. You have to know what the room is, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and but at the same time, that's just who he is. That's what he's always been. That's just his personality. That's he's kind of like I don't want to compare him to this guy, but Carlos Gomez. He was one of those guys that if he was on your team, you loved him until you got to the Astros, and we didn't really love him. But you know that personality where he's a character, and that that's just his personality. He
Well,
rubs people
right.
the wrong way, and
But even
Siri's
but
got that
even
personality. Yeah,
but even Carlos Gomez annoyed his own teammates.
right.
Carlos Gomez did it in a way that pissed people off. I'm just saying, I don't think Jose Siri did anything wrong, but I understand why people took it the
Yeah,
wrong way, because it's, to me, this is what I liken it to. I remember I was at a Texans game, and they were playing the Browns, and they were kicking the Browns' butt. And one of the Browns linebackers got like 2 sacks, and every time he got a sack, he was celebrating, but they were getting beat by like 30 points. And I'm like, what are you doing celebrating a sack? Your team's getting beat by 30 points. That makes no sense to me. I think it's that kind of the excessive celebration thing. At the end of the
right.
day, no harm, no foul. He didn't mean anything by it.
Yeah, and I think it's part of the learning process. I mean, he hasn't been. I mean, he's been in the big leagues for what 2 years now, and he still doesn't have a lot of experience. But that's just who he is. I'm not. But there's all these players that have done it. He's not the first person to do this. It's part of making baseball exciting, and they want to appeal to the younger generation. How many little league kids do this? I mean, there's this viral TikTok of this young boy in Little League who's like showboating as he's scoring from third base, and he's like doing this dance as he's going there. Everybody's cheering it. So it's just
That
it
so
makes
so
baseball exciting. Go ahead.
so that is so for kids to do that, that's on the parents. That's not an influence from Major League Baseball. That's because the
Right?
parents
They
allow
think
that.
it's cute. They think it's cute.
Yeah, it's not cute. If that kid was on my team, he'd be running laps. Sorry, we never put up with that. You do not showboat. You're in little
Come on,
league. You're
coach. Come on,
12.
coach.
I'm sorry. There's 750 major leaguers. You're probably not going to be a pro, kid. That's what I would tell them. Now, pros do it. Harper does it. Of course, someone mentioned, Carlos Correa took a whole lot longer to tap on his watch, and he did. But you know what? He's also one of the most prolific bats in the playoffs. But look, let's not get lost in the weeds. I'm not saying I'm against Siri. I'm not even saying I was upset. I just said you've got to be cognizant
Yeah.
of who you're playing to and the repercussions. Because if that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago, or when we were growing up watching baseball,
No, Ryan.
that base, he would be wearing the baseball stitches on his back for sure.
Even Dusty Baker said something after the game. He said
He
if this
said,
happened in
right.
old days, there would be the next batter would have been hit. And he said after today's game, he said something like, "Well, I wish players would think before they they press the send button on Twitter, but I can't control that. That's their own personal
Yeah,
account."
that I think made it a little worse. I actually didn't even see that. Look, at the end of the day, we're all humans, right? Nobody's
Right.
perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. The bottom line is you've got to forget about it and move on. They were trying to continue to rehash it. Dusty's like, that's I don't even talk about the past anymore.
It's not
Let's
a
move
big
on.
deal. Yeah.
The bottom line is this. The Houston Astros have this awesome task in front of them. Can you imagine if they come out of these 9 games and they go 6-3, or they go 7-2? I mean, Eric, the way they play these first 2 games, I don't think the Yankees winning the series is a for sure thing. I think this Astros team is catching fire. They know how to play in New York. They know how to hit the ball in New York. Garrett Cole does not
They've done it
intimidate
before. Yeah.
them. They've done it before. Why not do it again?
Yeah, I think at the time everybody was worried about the offense kind of being down, but with what we've seen recently, I mean, I know that against the White Sox it was a little bit off at times, but I think with the way the offense is now, especially against the Mets have good pitching. Their pitching staff is one of the best in baseball, even without Max Scherzer. They're one of the best pitching staff in baseball, and so I think for them to do what they did against them, and I know they're going to face them again next week, but I think this is a big test to see who the Houston Astros are, and are they really going to be a competitor, not in the playoffs, but for the World Series? Because that's what we're looking at right now. We know they're going to make the playoffs. We know that they're going to get far in playoffs, but are they going to be able to win the World Series with the current team? Or are they going to have to make some additions at the trade deadline? That's what the Astros are looking at right now.
So look at this. I think we got Stace Gotsulis on here. She says, so Jose Siri should be able to moonwalk to home after hitting a home run. People are too uptight. Also, hello. Look at that. She's coming in, supporting our guy, Jose Siri, making me look like the always negative, always Stros guy. Look at that.
Yeah,
So,
you are.
hey, she's, thanks. She's actually going to jump on the podcast after the Yankees series to do a post Yankees Astros series wrap this Sunday evening. So that's going to be a fun show. It'll be good to have her on. It'll be good to have some New York blood on the line. Hey, don't hate on me. My roots are in Buffalo,
Y'all,
New York. Okay, I'm serious. My mom's from Buffalo, New York, so I've got some New Yorker vibe in me. All right. Anyways, the bottom line is this: the Astros need to take care of business. They need
3-1.
to score early. Do what? They're going to win 3-1.
Yeah, they're going to win the series 3-1. I'll give Stace
Oh
one game.
wow!
Yeah, I'll give
Dang.
you one game, Stace.
I mean, honestly, I'll be happy with a 2-2 split. To be honest
Yeah,
with
that's
you.
probably likely outcome. But I'm trying to be always Stros, always positive because you're not.
Whatever. All of a sudden, it's your tack line and you say it backwards. Come on, man. You got to do better than that. Okay, well, hey, Eric, dude, this has been great. Thanks for joining. It was a surprise. Oh, and she goes, I do not do predictions. So you know what, Stace, I'm starting to not do predictions because like I don't know
That's my
anything.
thing.
Like
Yeah,
I'm not Nostradamus. Yeah, Eric loves predicting. Bold, bold takes by Eric the Man Huysman.
from church
Um,
camp.
oh, Jay said it's the camp food. I thought that just gave you gas. Maybe it gives you better. Hey man, maybe you can go to
It's a lot better
betonline.net.
this year, Jay.
Well, since you're not at a Baptist camp, maybe you could do some betting. I mean, anyways, so I digress. So here we go. The NBA mock draft. All right. Listen to this. The first picks of the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft have been made. Search now the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft and get over 50 insiders, the Odyssey sports experts, the draft experts are Locked On NBA Big Board. The 5-episode Ultimate NBA Mock Draft is underway. Make Ultimate NBA Mock Draft your second listen after you make Locked On Astros your first listen, excuse me. And if you want to, after our post game, go check out Stacey Gotsulis at Locked On Yankees. Check her out. Show her some love. Hey, Michael K from the Yes Network even talks about her show. Oh, and she's personal friends with David Cohn. So there you go. She's got some clout up there in the big NY. And Stace, we love you, but I hope we beat the Yankees. I hope we beat them and beat them good. So I'm Htown Wheelhouse. Eric, you got anything else to say before we go?
No, thank you for covering for me this week and next week. Now, I may try to join you again tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes. But that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you check us out every day. Make us your first listen on Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out and go check out solely over the Locked On MLB podcast and Stace as well. And go Stros.
Go Stros. We're your team every day. Y'all, we're out. And that's the outro.
Okay.